Before your husband, and I know he went into a rage at a gym, you talked to me just about the emotional abuse that you were experiencing. How is that? I mean, you're there counseling people, and then you're home, and you're seeing the same signs you're telling them to be on alert for.
So when you work with individuals, and then you try to put on a face, and you're out there helping them because sometimes you feel like your situation will get better. And it doesn't, you know, and then you can't change others. You know, you have to be able to look into that mirror and love yourself and know who you are, so that way you could thrive, you could be better.
And your husband eventually went into a rage, well, at
Outside of the gym.
Outside of the gym. What happened that day?
We had been separated for over 4 to 6 months, and he was outside the gym, and I was going. I think that's probably the last time that I went there because I was so scared afterwards. And he was like, I want to see our child. And I was like, this is not the time. So I went in maybe for 2 hours, 2.5 hours. I remember I contacted my attorney and said, he's out there. I don't feel safe that he's around. I came out, and bam, I had my phone, and then he started hitting me. And I tried to run back into the gym, and then he cornered me in the doorway, and he just kept punching me and punching me. And I just saw total darkness. And I'm trying to call 911, and the phone is falling, and I'm picking it up, and my cousin is like, okay, let's go, let's try to go to safety. But the gym, they were kicking us out because they were closing, and then he just ran off.
And so they were closing, the brutality of your injuries were visible.
My face was just, I didn't know it was swelling up at the time, but it was almost unrecognizable. I just didn't even know who I was at the time. I was lost, and I was calling 911. I kept calling and calling, like, and no one was responding. And finally, and I was like, oh my God, the same number that I called all the time just to say, hi, this is Johane. I'm the social worker for such and such, and I have someone here who needs assistance. I found myself thinking, what is this number? And I was thinking like summer, and I remember teaching them June 21st, first day of summer, and be hopeful. And that was the number that ultimately saved me. 1-800-621-4673. The number, the local number that you called every time you're in danger. That
was the local hotline number.
Yes, 24/7, you know, and Safe Horizon was there for me. Like I said, it's always there 24/7, and it's confidential.
Lisa, part of it, I mean, you know, is this sense that Johane knew the number and knew it was there. So many women don't know, even with the message being spread, that there is a hotline available. I know, going back to you and your situation with your children, how more complicated is it when you have children in the home?
It's a lot more complicated, and it makes it so that you have to find other avenues as quickly as possible. I was fortunate, I had my family close by, and then I also had Safe Horizon to contact. But if I didn't have my family, I don't know what I would have done. It would have been much more difficult, especially because of my children, and trying to explain to them. They were older, but at the same time explaining to them what was going on and how we were going to move forward, because it wasn't going to be the same ever again.
One of the things I think is fascinating, too, that we've learned over the past few years, especially with high-profile cases of domestic abuse, is not to ask survivors why you stayed. I mean, that's only in the last 5 years. People now know you don't say, why are you staying?
I didn't stay. I was already separated.
Right. You were separated, but when you see signs of emotional abuse, people will say, well, why did you stay?
Right.
There's no answer to that.
No.
It's each individual's struggle to figure out how to get out.
We can all wear the same size shoe, the same model shoe, the same, but we walk differently. We all have our own stories and our own ways of dealing with what has happened to us.